Good morning to the Honorable Ministers of the Council, members of the media, online viewers via TV 15, also radio listeners, and Tel TV Plus listeners via St. Martin Gov Radio 107.9 FM and other respective radio stations island-wide. I'm Charity Dunker, and welcome to the Council of Ministers press briefing for today, Wednesday, August 24th, 2022. At this time, I'd like to invite and welcome the Honorable Minister of Justice, Anna Richardson, to address you.
Pleasant good morning, Prime Minister, colleague ministers, members of the press, Ms. Dunker, CoM team, those who are tuned in online via radio, and of course, a special good morning to all senior citizens. I don't have much to cover this morning, but I just want to remind everyone that the launch of our new Justice series, Harvey Bay Unscripted, will debut this coming Friday at 8 p.m. And I am encouraging everyone to tune in to the various platforms that we've provided. If you are not aware where those are, please visit our Facebook page and you will receive all the information. But we are constantly sharing the flyers, the promo video, etc. So we look forward to the entire nation tuning in to see this because the participants are very enthusiastic to be able to tell their stories, life from their perspective, and I think it's going to be very interesting as we are trying to get our most vulnerable in our society, being our youth, to take the right decisions and not succumb themselves to experience that many of those who are currently serving or who have served wish that they had made better choices in life. So to be able to give a steering of positivism to our youth of St. Martin, we are encouraging all ages to tune in and get first-hand information of what life is like in and out of the walls, as it is so stated. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Honorable Minister of Justice Anna Richardson, for your opening remarks. At this time, I'd like to welcome and invite the Minister of Finance, Artwell Arian, to address you. Good morning, Minister.
Good morning. Good morning, Dunker. Good morning to my colleagues. Good morning to the media. Good morning to the viewing public. Is my on? I believe last week, the Minister of Brummy, or maybe 2 weeks ago, the Minister of Brummy at that time acting in the capacity of Deputy Prime Minister, I believe, made a comment in regards to, respond to a question actually from the media in regards to the vacation allowance and so forth. Since then, he also mentioned that we would meet with the different school boards and so forth. So I would like to make a few comments on that. Since then, in the last 2 weeks, the minister and myself, we've met with, I believe, the majority of the school boards, with the exception of Asha Stevens and with the NEPA. I did have an informal conversation with a board member from NEPA, let them know that we will be meeting with them, so they're still on the list to meet. And Asha Stevens, we are still scheduled to meet. The meetings went well in regards to the process, giving more information on the situation. I would say that communication may have played a role in the school board's understanding properly on their role and be able to pay out the vacation pay and how to pay it out and so forth. And like I mentioned yesterday, we had our last one yesterday with the Max School Board, for instance. And what I do realize is that the school boards try to have a unified approach in how to deal with the school vacation allowance and so forth, which was not ideal since every school has their own system. For example, some schools, for example, would pay for their uniform for teachers. Some schools have gas vouchers. Some schools, let's say, have breakfast, for example, this example. Also, when you look at the cuts, is also for the auxiliary staff, right? So the cleaners, the maintenance guys, the kitchen. So every school is different when it comes to their staff, teachers, and the benefits. So having a unified approach was not the best approach, I would say, even though I understand that approach. So I believe having these individual meetings with all the school boards minimize the lack of communication, and I believe that there is a way forward going forward. That'd be all, Ms. Dunker.
Thank you very much, Minister of Finance, Artwell Arian, for your opening remarks. At this time, I'd like to invite and welcome the Honorable Minister of Education, Culture, Youth and Sport, Dr. Randus Rudolph Samuel, to address you.
Thank you, Ms. Duncan, and good morning, Dunker, and good morning to you, good morning to DCOM, good morning to the media, good morning to my colleagues, Prime Minister, and good morning to the people of St. Martin. I have a few communiques I would like to highlight and bring to the people of St. Martin. Preparatory secondary education, vocational education on St. Martin is based on the Dutch model. In my capacity as Minister of Education, Culture, Youth and Sports, I am aware that a smooth transition from VSBO/PSVE to higher vocation education or to the labor market is imperative. This can be achieved by consistently ensuring that pathways provide progressions options with the concept of lifelong learning remaining accessible. The Department of Education, in collaboration with JS Consulting Services, is conducting research during the month of August and September to determine the viability of CVQs as a replacement for English vocation secondary education on St. Martin. JS Consultant Services has been contracted to execute data collection utilizing survey instruments, questionnaires, and stakeholders consultations. As such, survey questionnaires have been drafted for students and businesses in order to gather data as to St. Martin's labor market expectations of vocational secondary level education and the experiences of past VSBO/PSVE graduates transition into the labor market. Therefore, kindly take note that 2 links which will be made available via the Government of St. Martin website and Facebook page. If you are a business owner in St. Martin or hold a managerial recruitment position within a business on the island, you can access and complete the business questionnaire via the available link that will be shown on the website and Facebook page. However, if you are a current student of VSBO/PSVE education on St. Martin, or you have completed VSBO/PSVE education on St. Martin, kindly access and complete the student questionnaire via the link that is provided. Your contribution to this research is precious, and you will only need about 5 minutes to complete this short survey. Finally, I assure you that all information you provide to the Ministry of ECYS is confidential and will only be used for the research purposes. I look forward to your kind cooperation. I would like to, at this moment, also congratulate the young athlete, Mr. Carlos Bryson, who has gotten the opportunity to go to Jamaica for high school in connection with his athletic abilities. So I congratulate him and wish him all the very best. In regards to the issue surrounding the alleged situation at the Scots School, I have informed last week that I would be having a meeting with the school board. I did have the meeting with the school board. We did not go into the content of the report or research that was done at the Catholic School Board level regarding the topic at hand. However, I left the meeting indeed with the understanding and that the school board would report the incident, but received a letter after from the school board indicating that the laws at this moment does not, let us say, require that they make a report. What I want the public to understand here is that even though the present laws does not have sufficient ability to enforce the reporting, we at the ministry have already started with the upgrading of the law to make this possible. And this was also taken into consideration. However, even though this is known to the school board, they still indicated that this is not yet finalized. So they do not at this moment have to adhere to unfinalized articles in the upgraded law. A couple of weeks ago, we also spoke regarding a question that was posed from the media in regards to the function book. And I would like to inform at this moment that indeed at that time, even though it was recently noticed that there were some questions regarding the function book of education. And the issue regarding the function book at that time was that the national decree regarding the function book was completed. Everything was in order. However, the attachment of the function book itself was not yet published. I looked into the matter in order to have that part of the function book published because the whole legislative process at that time was completed. It started, I think, or it was completed in 2016. And when looking at the function book and rereading it, we have realized that there might be one or two issues, typos, and I will update in a following press briefing as to what the decision will be with the function book at that time. I would also like to remind the public of St. Martin that on the 27th of August, we do have the Health, Culture, and Sport Expo at the Raoul Illich Sport Complex. And I am encouraging everyone to come out to the expo. There would be about 80 businesses or organizations there in order to give information regarding their service to the community. On another note, I would like to inform the following. Division of Study Financing would like to remind existing study financing students, parents, and guardians that the deadline to submit study results for the school year 2021, the proof of enrollment for fall 2022, and the 2021 parental tax declarations was due on July 15th, 2022. The deadline was extended to August 31st, 2022, taking into consideration that some schools published their results at the end of July or beginning of August. The deadline is now fast approaching, and the recipients are therefore being reminded to submit now as fast as possible the information in a timely manner to facilitate processing of payments. To date, approximately 75% of the existing study financing recipients have already completed this process, and 25 students registered their graduation with the division study finance. We are still awaiting confirmation from 23 students who were also expected to graduate. Study financing recipients who will pursue their studies in other countries have also departed the island, and they were accompanied in most cases by their parents and or guardians. We have 30 students left for the USA, of which 11 students went to our sister city, Tallahassee. They were received by the Tallahassee St. Martin Foundation. Special thanks goes out to the board and volunteers, in particular, Mrs. Lilitia Forbes Johnson, who organized and coordinated the entire orientation and introduction program. Highlights of the program were the boat tour on the Wakula Spring River and an introductory meeting at the City Hall with the Mayor of Tallahassee, Mr. John E. Daly. 16 students left for Canada. 2 students will be going to the United Kingdom. 8 students will be studying at USM, 6 students at NEPA, 2 students will be studying on Curaçao, 1 student will be studying in Aruba. And the most popular areas for studies this year are 1, business, 2, social science, 3, medical, 4, education, 5, hospitality, 6, information technology, and 7, arts. I also have some other press releases in regards to the interim report on education review, but these would be given out in hard copy because of the length of the documents. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister Dr. Anders Rudolph Samuel, for your opening remarks. At this time, I'd like to welcome and invite the Honorable Minister of Public Health, Social Development, and Labor, Omar Otley, to address you. Good morning, Minister.
Good morning. Good morning, members of the media, Honorable Prime Minister, and my colleagues. Blessed day to all. The viewing and listening public. I'll start with VSA. Ms. Bibi Haisha, you asked a question related to SLV and the HR hiring. Someone was hired on June 1st. It is indeed a local. I have the information to clarify this. They are asking that they don't want their name to be public, but I can clarify it is a local person. So that's good news. Also, as it relates to SZV, we are awaiting the advice for what we call Legislation 1B. This deals with aspects of insurance of 62 plus, which we do on a humanitarian basis to formalize it, formalizing referrals to other countries where need be, and other updates such as CoM funds and other pressing matters with SZV to ensure a better possibility of good audit. There are a lot of things that we do based on humanitarian purposes that are not legislatively present, so we plan to do this. As well as a quick update, the next steps, we are moving forward with the insurance for AIM and ZAC, sole proprietors. These are steps towards what we call the GHI, but we're bringing it in that fashion. While we continuously work on the GHI, I think that it is important to continue moving, so that will be coming to the forefront. That is the priority of the ministry and SZV at the moment, insurance for sole proprietors. I would like to touch on SMMC. We are working closely to strengthen SMMC and also see ways that we can strengthen their nursing programs and promote nursing programs through NEPA and SMMC, whether it's through our SOS policy. And we can show the return of investment to these companies that invest in these programs. Also with SMMC, we all know that there has been some discrepancies with inflation of pricing in which we do agree, but the amount in which FinZo was requesting, we did not agree with. So I can be happy to say that SMMC have updated me that they are 90% complete with their agreement. LOI is expected to be signed within this week, latest next week, in which they have promised me that we will see a more significant increase in productivity and manpower on the job. So I look forward to this, and I will update you publicly as the weeks go by, because I know that you won't play when it comes to this. I also would like to touch on VSR related. We are continuously working on expanding our BIC registration. I spoke on it, but I'm just updating the public that this has not taken the back burner, and we are now going through the legal trajectory to expand. What does this mean for those who are now tuning in? We would now allow doctors with the correct credentials in the accreditation bodies that we choose to work in St. Martin's, say from Canada, USA, Colombia, Costa Rica, and so forth. So we are going through the legal trajectory with that. That would strengthen our capacity and our ability. I would like to discuss some TIAT related matters. Switch my hat for one bit. Yesterday, August 23rd, marked the closure of the 2-week registration for the MSME Entrepreneurship Development Program. At closing, a registration of a total of 107 applications were submitted. Unfortunately, only 25 candidates will be selected. Persons were asked to submit their application along with a short video pitch of themselves and their business concept. Due to the overwhelming amount of applications, the ministry and the A&A Accounting Business, Sports and Training Center are currently brainstorming on how we can assist those even that were not selected. I am happy to see this. I am a big proponent of entrepreneurship in St. Martin. I believe in owning our own, and these are the next steps in ensuring that persons know the correct process and way to go about. I would also like to touch on airport-related matters. We have meetings scheduled and regularly scheduled planning. So we have reached out to a lot of our stakeholders to ensure that although we see there is a loss of flights or airlines, to ensure that our main stakeholders are still involved, our main hubs, our main ports of entry or where they would depart from are still on board, and we are looking for ways to expand flight operations in St. Martin, which is promised. From October, we should see an increase in flights in St. Martin. I look forward to any other questions that we may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister Omar Adli, for your opening remarks. At this time, I'd like to invite the Honorable Prime Minister, Minister of General Affairs, Saveria Jacobs, to address you. Also like to remind the media and also the viewing and listening audience out there that the Prime Minister will be leaving directly after her opening remarks. So therefore, members of the media afford you a unique opportunity to present those questions as soon as the Prime Minister is finished with her opening remarks. Prime Minister, good morning.
Thank you, Ms. Dunker. Good morning to my colleagues. Good morning to you. Good morning to the members of the media present and, of course, the support staff at CoM. Good morning to the people of St. Martin. The Caribbean Wellness Month and the Council of Ministers notice of activities catered to civil servants' wellness. As you know, wellness is not about just physical health, but also about exercise, nutrition, and the full integration of physical, mental, and spiritual well-being. Over the past 5 years, the resilience of the organization was shown or has shown no bound. The aftermath of the devastating hurricanes, the COVID-19 pandemic, cost-cutting measures, and the now looming economic recession have played a role. Notwithstanding this resilience, the productivity of the organization has suffered and employee turnover has increased despite the security offered by having a government job. The Council of Ministers is therefore organizing a series of activities starting for the month of September, which is also Caribbean Wellness Month. To launch the activities in collaboration with Smmc and SZV, lectures will be given by Dr. Birdlake and Dr. Jurgensen, and the possibility to have general Q&As and one-on-one sessions with doctors. In addition to these lectures, a special civil servants care room will be inaugurated by the Council of Ministers. Civil servants are asked to look out for an email with more information on the activities that are available, but this is an initiative from the Council of Ministers to ensure that we look out for the wellness of our civil service. The Minister of Education already touched on the situation of the allegations of misconduct at the school. I would like to reiterate that the government of St. Martin stands with all victims and promotes breaking the silence. That is definitely what I tried to convey last week. Despite snippets of the discussion being bandied about, many were diligent enough to go back and listen to the entire recording, for which I thank you, in which the intentions of my statements were made clear. Suffice it to say that this government, as Minister mentioned, is looking at, has been, before this incident, working on laws that needed to be amended. There are many laws that still need to be amended, but of course, even within the laws that exist now, reporting can and always should be done in the interest of the victim. And as I mentioned before, also ensuring protection of the privacy of said victim. My heart goes out to any and all victims, and I implore you and your families to do the necessary due diligence so that the perpetrators who execute these misconduct and abuse their power within areas, especially where our youth are dealt with as they should. Thank you for your attention to that. Today I'm leaving early because there is a meeting of Parliament, which we requested a postponement for, which was not granted. Unfortunately, the meeting that was planned for the NVGEB, our shareholders meeting, was planned way before the question came from Parliament for said meeting. The meeting was held on Friday. It was an extensively long meeting. As I mentioned before, many documents had been provided and even more information in the meeting. The Council of Ministers still needs time to be able to respond to and await several, let's say, requests for more information and more clarity. In the meantime, the importance of dissemination of information to the public was stressed. And we are seeing in the past couple of days that this still has not taken place. As a Council of Ministers, we've also met yesterday during the council meeting and taken certain decisions that required time for execution. However, the Parliament still wants to be able to ask their questions, and as a faithful servant accountable to Parliament, I will be representing the Council of Ministers with the board of NVGB in said meeting. Unfortunately, though, I do have a 12:45 pre-scheduled meeting with the State Secretary Van Huffelen, and so we'll request in Parliament's understanding for that. So with that being said, if there are any further questions, I won't go into my usual, we do have COVID still on the rise. We do have other communicable diseases and preparation for hurricane. That remains my mantra every week. And I do implore all of us to stay positive, take care of our health. And I thank all those who have wished me well after my accident on Monday evening. We are all coping with a lot. And I do thank you for your prayers as well as your well wishes as we continue to move forward. Thank you, Charity. I await any questions, and then unfortunately, I have to leave.
You're most welcome, Honorable Prime Minister. Ms. Bibi Hadshaw of SMN News, you have your questions.
Good morning. Thank you, Charity. Good morning, colleagues. Good morning, ministers. My first question to the Prime Minister. Prime Minister, it have been weeks, if not months, we have been asking about NVGEBE, and we diligently waited on your shareholders meeting, which was Friday. I was told that meeting was almost 7 hours long. Can you tell us today if the government of St. Martin was anyway misled by NVGEBE when they said they recovered, if not 85% to 100% of their data? According to information that I have, almost 70% of the people of St. Martin that normally receives bill is still not receiving bills, and these people are not even paying their bills. Can you also give us an update on the screening of the CFO candidate, and if that person received a negative report? Prime Minister, finally, on GEBE, do you share the same concerns of the people in reference to NVGEBE?
That was 3 questions. I think we're stretching it just a bit. Indeed, the government of St. Martin is extremely concerned, and I don't think that anybody would expect that us asking for a postponement of a handling of this meeting in Parliament is moving away from our responsibility to hold GEB accountable. I am not going to sit here and take judgment without hard evidence of facts. Information has been presented which provided more clarity as to what was recovered and what wasn't, which was previously not known to government. I'm not going to make the broad statement you made, but I believe that the management of GEBE has to answer to these specific questions to public, to Parliament, to us. We are shareholders. As such, we have a responsibility, and we hold the board accountable, the board holds the management accountable. We would like the space to be able to execute our tasks, as after such a meeting, minutes have to be made, decisions have to be rolled out, and Monday is the weekend after. It's the same people that are doing all the other work. So I'm asking understanding from the people of St. Martin for government of St. Martin to be able to do its due diligence. As I mentioned, decisions were taken yesterday in CoM, but they require also a legal trajectory to be followed. We cannot state what those are out of turn of the action. Certain things, what the people of St. Martin need to understand is that this is one of our top priorities. There are several that we're dealing with at the moment. However, this is one of them, and we will do our necessary due diligence to ensure the continuity of GBE. What has been clarified, though, is yes, some people still have not received bills, and that needed to be explained to the public. That needs to be explained to the public where they are with that, what the challenges are, and we have now a better understanding of working with the data that they have been putting in by hand has been the challenges they faced with that. So while we see some effort, I would like the opportunity for us to move forward with our plan. I can't remember the second question per se, but there is a meeting of Parliament today. I don't know in how much we'll be able to respond in today's meeting, as I mentioned, with the time constraints, but any other responses will be provided by NVGB.
Any other member of the media? Question for Prime Minister? Mr. Andrew Dick of TV Carib, you have the floor.
Prime Minister, good morning. Good morning, Charity. Can I have an update on the screening of the Minister of TIAT? Is there a candidate as yet, and has the screening begun?
Now that you said that, I remember the question of Ms. Shaw. The results of the CFO screening has been shared with the management company. And again, they were the ones that requested the screening, so I leave the response to that to them. And as for the screening of the TIAT minister, that has not yet begun.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Also, thank you, members of the media. Prime Minister, thank you very much for joining us, and do enjoy the rest of your day. And now, as we move on to the other ministers who will also be presented questions by the media. If you have just joined us, you're tuned into the Live Council Ministers press briefing for today, August 24, 2022. Thank you very much for joining us. Ms. Bibi Hadshaw, round one of our question and answer session. You have the floor.
Thank you, Charity. My first question will then go to the acting minister of TIAT, and I'd like the Minister of Finance to chip in on this question. Minister Otley, I want to make it clear, I know you inherited this situation, so I'd like for you to give me some explanations as to what you found when you entered as acting minister of TIAT. Can you tell us exactly how much money BTP owes the government of St. Martin in concession fees? Do you believe BTP is putting the telecommunications company at risk? And exactly why the former ministers of TIAT did not deal with this issue? Isn't BTP also a government-owned company like GEBE, Talem, and the Harbor?
Thank you, Ms. Shah. I cannot elaborate on the other ministers that were there. However, I can tell you some steps that have been taken. 3 board members were appointed May 1st, as of May 1st, new board members, May 1st, 2022. We did receive all the financial statements that brought us up to 2020, and as of Monday, we will start the audit that would then bring us to the financials to 2021. So those are the steps taken and that have been taken to better, I guess, rectify the situation of BTP. For any more specifics and details, I don't know if Minister of Finance would like to touch on it.
Thank you for your question, Ms. Shaw. The minister, I believe, touched on the majority of your questions. But in addition to that, since the minister came in, we have been working heavily on the finances of the different entities of hub under both of us, actually. We're working together on those, like you mentioned prior, the casinos, lotteries, and some additional stuff that we are also working on. BTP is one of them in terms of the amounts that's owed to government and so forth. But not only that, I know also the minister is also, as he mentioned just now, putting a board in place to have accountability there for management. I think that was one of the issues in the past also, having a proper supervisory board in place that would keep management accountable and keep the shareholder up to date. Actually, not even shareholder, because BTP is a ZPO. In addition to that, yes, we are looking at the money that is owed to government from BTP, and we hope to have this done within the next few months.
Thank you, ministers, and also thank you, Baby, for your question. Mr. Lyndon Brown of BCN TV, you have the floor.
Good morning to the people of St. Martin and the ministers that are present today. Question to the Honorable Minister of Health. Minister of Health, it have been pounding that the monkeypox is soon, it's on the way, heading to our shore. Minister, and the health apparatus emphasizing that there are certain relationship with men causing the escalation of the monkeypox. Minister, What will be your statement on this matter?
Well, what I would do is advise everyone to be aware of monkeypox. I would not create a stigma or give the impression that only a certain amount of people or a certain demographic can get it, because it is transmittable, and it also can be transmitted through, I guess, spit particles and close proximity. So what I would do is advise the entire population of St. Martin to be vigilant, be aware. We are taking the steps that we need. CPS is very much involved in the preparatory information that goes out. And as stated, we are working on instituting a port help, but for what we have now, the admins have been trained to look for specific signs and detection of not only COVID, but monkeypox. So I would ask the whole population to heed warning towards the monkeypox.
Thank you, Minister, and also thank you, Lyndon. Moving on to Mr. Andrew Dick of TV Carib. You have the floor.
Thank you. Minister of Education, just as a clarification on the meeting you had with the school board, so was it that the advice given to the school board for them to actually report the incident, and then it was agreed upon, and after you left, a letter was sent to you informing you that that will not happen? I just wanted to be clear.
Thank you, Mr. Andrew, for the question. It was not a meeting where an advice was given to the school board. I went to the school board because of time matter. That was one. And secondly, to also indicate my concern. I feel that this is a very delicate matter. It is something that deals with our students and our children. It must be noted that our children, our students must be able to understand that school is a safe place. And if something happens at the school, it should be reported. Now, in our conversation, I understood from him that it would be reported the next day. And when I received the letter the day after, which indicates the position he took in regards to the law, so the law is not in place, or the law to enforce reporting is not sufficiently there for secondary schools. And I have also sought legal advice on this. I haven't received it as yet, but I'm awaiting what my legal will indicate to me.
Thank you, Minister, and also thank you, Andrew. Ms. Bibi Hadshaw of SMN News, you have the floor.
Thank you, Charity. Minister Ardwell, I am asking a follow-up on my question that I asked about BTP. Can you indicate exactly how many millions BTP owed the government? And how would this help to fill the holes that you have in government budget? And my second question goes to the Minister of VSR. Minister, can you tell us, this is TIAT actually, tell us about the price controls since the extension of the food basket. I have personally seen some of the supermarkets, especially larger ones, that are really jacking up their prices, on products. They're claiming that they're the ones getting their stuff are selling faster, and because of that, they get new prices daily. Have controls been conducted, or how often is this happening?
Thank you for your question, Ms. Shaw. In regards to the amount owed to government, I'll have to verify and get this number for you. In regards to what it would do to fill our coffers, currently have a deficit, so of course, any extra money that is especially owed to us will be very much appreciated. So yes, we are looking at that process of how much is owed to us, and I'll be able to update you hopefully within short.
Thank you, Minister Artwell, and also thank you, Bibi. Mr. Lyndon Brown of BCN TV. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Ms. Harsha, what we do ask is inspections have been taking place, but of course the reality is we won't be able to inspect every supermarket, so we do ask the cooperation of the public. And if any items on the referred to list are marked up, we would like the cooperation of the public. What I would do is I would have the NTIAT prepare a quick, maybe a 1-minute video informing persons on how they can send their complaints.
Thank you, Minister, and also thank you again, Bibi. Mr. Lyndon Brown of BCN TV.
Question to the Minister of Justice. Minister of Justice, I read the release from your movie, unscripted movie, that will highlight certain aspect of crime on the island. Minister, it has been a norm right now that in 2 weeks and more, person have been a suspect of sexual misbehave. Minister, as you emphasizing, you want to combat, in other words, direct young people and holistically people from committing crime. But when somebody accuse person and do not have evidence, like for sexual misbehave, yes, and then they have to be arrested. Presently now, a police officer have been accused of sexual misconduct. And not he only. Now we also, Minister Samuel spoke about the school investigation, and it has been going on all the time. But when you do not find any proof that this person have done any sexual misbehavior, then what? But the stigma have went out already. So what would be a statement on such matter, Minister?
Thank you for your question, Mr. Brown. You've made quite a powerful statement there in terms of if an investigation is done and it comes back that there's no evidence that the accusation has been found to be accurate, then the stigma is there. Indeed, that person's image is tarnished and pretty much forever. And there's no real way to be able to fix that, because what is ingrained in one's mind about someone or something, it's very difficult to have that change. Unfortunately, in the society that we live in, it's a very public one. The media platforms gives the opportunity to be able to put information out, whether you have that information confirmed, yes or not, and the damage is done. Until we have laws that protect these things on either side, there's really nothing much that could be done, unfortunately. But what I'm hoping for is that we as a society will be cognizant of that, that we be careful with the direction we go in. And the Prime Minister alluded to that earlier in terms of the damage that this has on the victim as well. Sometimes you have instances where we are saying, hey, go ahead and act in this way, but have we, taken into consideration if that is what the persons who are involved in it, in this case, the victim and their support is supposed to be the first ones to determine how far they want to go with the matter. And when you have reservations from that starting point, it is very difficult to act beyond that. And as a society, sometimes we don't understand why certain things aren't happening the way we feel it should. But there are so many things happening in the back end that are playing out, considerations being taken, the way the law is written, that hinders or inhibits the actions we would love to see from our emotional standpoint. But wanting to protect our youth is top priority. Wanting to protect every person of our society is top priority. We want to all live in an environment where we feel safe and we don't have to be concerned about the actions of others destroying our lives. So there's not much that I could say in terms of how we can help someone recover their image or identity unless that person opts to take steps for defamation of character. That's the only way they can. And other than that, we can't encourage anything different than that. And we can't take any steps that can solve an issue of one's character or name that is negatively branded. I hope I've answered your question.
Thank you, Minister Richardson, and also thank you, Lyndon. Mr. Andrew Dick of TV Carib.
Thank you. Minister of TIAT, Acting Minister of TIAT, the update on the cruise jobs in the cruise industry. I know that you said you was going to bring some numbers for us a couple of weeks ago. You didn't come.
Thank you. We have over about 137 to 140 persons that showed up physically to the job fair. We're still awaiting online information. We're still awaiting online information, but there was 137. The selection process is not yet complete to give you a full number on the amount hired, but I can give you that information. It was 137 to 140 persons that showed up.
Okay.
Yeah. So I wait the rest of the information from the cruise line. I said how I feel. I said how I feel already. So I am just praying again. Some people say I made my statements too fast by saying I'm disappointed. So I pray that the number of online registration can change my opinion on the physical turnout that I see.
Thank you, Minister, and also thank you, Andrew. Ms. Bibi Hart-Shah of SMN News, you have the floor.
Thank you, Charity. Minister of Education, I'm going to ask a follow-up on my colleague question regarding the meeting you had with the school board, the Catholic School Board, regarding the incident at St. Dominic High School. Did they tell you if, did the school board indicate if an NDA was signed with the victim's family or a representative of the victims? Were there any type of agreement? I mean, we're hearing about an NDA and the silencing of the victim. Can you verify if that exactly happened? And then my question is for the Minister of Justice. Minister, can you give us an update on the investigation of Lance Thomas and others that died through mental health? I mean, it's been a long time. And if the prosecutors have not been giving any information, not to you, to government, or even the families, do you as Minister of Justice, who is the boss of the prosecutor, have any plan B? And when I say plan B, I mean what measures are you expecting to take as the Minister of Justice?
I go first? Yes, thank you. First, Ms. Shaw, one of the things that I do as Minister of Justice is that I am not authority happy. I'm very respectful in that every entity within the Ministry of Justice work within their spectrum of authority. And the law is what governs that. Earlier, I was indicating that there are certain actions we, in our emotional stance, would like to see done. But does our law support what we think or what we feel should be the action taken? If my memory doesn't serve me, if my memory serves me right, there was answers received and provided to the media on this particular question. No, you haven't received it. I'll see to it that my Judicial Affairs shares with you the communication we received back from the Peihe's office or our Attorney General to this specific question, because you have asked it several times. My answer doesn't differ. It is the same. And so we have it in writing and I have that sent to you. Yes, but I respect the authority that each entity has, and I know that they work within the realm of their legal ability. Yeah, thank you.
In regards to the question from Bibi, I would like to indicate that it isn't my quest to go to the school board and ask the school board every detail of what took place. That's not what I am out to do. So I did not go into the content of the research that the school board did. I stayed within my authority, and I did not have any questions in regards to if anything was signed or if anything was not signed. I thank you.
Thank you both ministers, and also thank you, Bibi. Mr. Lyndon Brown of BCN TV, you have the floor.
Question to the Minister of Justice. Minister of Justice, you seem to be in the front line these days, Minister. The people are wondering how soon they're going to hear the pronunciation of the grace period. And those people who have been denied document, would they have any opportunity to sign in to be a part of the grace period?
Thank you for your question, Mr. Brown. So I really appreciate receiving this question as well, because I think some clarity could come. Whenever you have this discussion about immigration and work matters, you have an uproar on one side or the other, who's for it, who's against it. But the reality of the matter is the floodgates of St. Martin had been opened many years ago, way before my tenure in this capacity. And it is no secret amongst us that it is an issue for our island on one spectrum or the other, be it seeking employment, be it housing limited housing availability, be it persons who are, born here, lived here for many years, but are still considered undocumented. The scenarios of what we are dealing with as a country is wide, and it is extensive in the number of persons that are a part of this pool of individuals that need their situation rectified. When we say that we are going to offer this pilot program of companies who have refused, or for whatever reasons they will give, have persons employed with them 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years and did not file for them, the reasoning behind each and every application would have to be discussed, would have to be evaluated to understand the reasoning behind that. But technically, someone who has already been employed 5 to 6 years is someone who would, done right, would have been permanent on the island. So it is unfair to that individual who have established their entire life here, have given birth, have just relocated here, and were just seeking that opportunity for their employer to make it right. Those are the persons that we are speaking about in this particular pilot approach. So it is not a blanket opportunity being thrown out for everyone, and I'm hoping that that's not misconstrued. It is not an opportunity for someone who landed on St. Martin last night, has a job today, and is expecting to be a part of the grace period. That's not the case. It is not someone who cannot show proof of being in St. Martin, or you came to St. Martin on vacation and then you decided that you were just not going to leave and you didn't abide by the laws of the land. So every single person who is put forward in this pilot program will be assessed, and the determination will be made within the legal framework whether this person qualifies for this or not. Yes? Thank you.
Thank you, Minister, and also thank you as well, Lyndon. Mr. Andrew Dick, you have the floor.
Thank you. The question is for the Minister of Finance. Minister, can you give us an update on the casino payments that had to be made to government? I know that you said that you were in the process of collecting.
Yes. Thank you for the question, Mr. Dick. Minister Tiat, I believe, was supposed to this week. Yes, he signed it already? Okay, yes. The minister was supposed to get an advice this week that he just confirmed that he did sign. So that advice now will then go to the Council of Ministers. And after it is approved, the process will officially commence. So we are on track. The idea was to start September. So once the minister signed, I believe that means we are on track for that collection process.
Thank you, Minister, and also thank you, Andrew. Honorable Ministers of the Council, members of the media, radio listeners, and online viewers, this brings us to the end of the Live Council Ministers Press Briefing for today, Wednesday, August 24th, 2022. For a rebroadcast, tune into St. Martin Gov Radio 107.9 FM, Telem's Tel TV Plus, the official Facebook page, Government of St. Martin, YouTube channel, Government of St. Martin, and TV 15. For video on demand as well, log on to the Government of St. Martin's YouTube channel. On behalf of our team at the Department of Communication, I'm Charity Dunker, and also from the Government of St. Martin, we wish you a pleasant day further.